to the February 8th, 2016 meeting of the Caldwell County Board of Education. It's good to see each of you here, and we hope that you're getting ready for the cold weather that's coming. It's supposed to be pretty cold this week. I think some of the lows may be certainly down into the teens, so everybody needs to bundle up good. But anyway, we have several special guests we want to recognize here at present time. Up toward the front here on the left, we got the Vice Chairman of the County Commission, Jeff Branch. And next to him is Jim Sponingberg. He is the Chairman of the Chamber of Commerce Board. And then the interim Executive Director of the Caldwell County Chamber of Commerce, Ralph Presswood. So we're glad that you all are here with us this evening. Next item on the agenda is the invocation to the board, and I'm going to recognize fellow board member Mrs. Linda Coffey Greer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us have a moment of silence as we reflect on the children, teachers, and staff, and also on the decisions being made for our school system and community. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. We're going to move along with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. We have a couple students from Valmead School, Jonathan Van Dyke and Montega Matheson. If you all come forward, and everyone please rise as we do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Montega and Jonathan, for being here with us this evening. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'd like to move item 13 to become item 6, and everything else will move down after that.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve the agenda as has been amended?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve tonight's agenda as amended.
Is there a second? Okay, any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Next, we have the approval of the minutes, and the board has had the opportunity to review those. Those minutes being our last regular board meeting here, and that was January 11th, 2016. Do I hear a motion that we approve the minutes of the last meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the minutes of the January 11th regular board meeting.
Second the motion.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Next, we have a section of public comment, and as of 4:30 this afternoon, we had no one to sign up for public comment. With the change in the agenda, we're going to move to announcements at this point. And I guess it's kind of unusual. We have 4 members of the board that have recently had birthdays or will have birthdays in the next few days here. Mr. Knight had a birthday on January 22nd. Mine was on January 31st. Linda's is coming up here on the 10th. And Joe Sims is Valentine's Day. So anyway,
All
we have
Aquarius.
all Aquarius. Okay.
Stuck with the Pisces down here.
Okay, a couple other items is last week was National Professional School Counseling Week. We truly do appreciate what our school counselors do. We have 35 professional school counselors in Caldwell County schools. It is through their work that our students benefit in many ways: career development, social, emotional growth, and also access to supportive counseling services. And in addition, they also help greatly with applications to colleges and helping the students as they prepare for their future. So their energy, the job that they do every day assist the teachers and the students in this county in so many ways. So we're very appreciative and thank the school counselors for the outstanding job that they do. The next thing, I'm going to turn it over to a fellow board member here because he is a certified bus driver.
Thank you,
Mr.
Darrell.
Knight.
I am a card carrier member. I'm a school bus driver. I drive field trips in Caldwell County, but also have been driving a school bus in Alexander County. So I know the responsibility that all these bus drivers have, and you need to thank them this week especially. And the slogan is, love the bus. So if you see a bus driver, thank him, because that's the first person your child sees in the morning and last person they see in the afternoon. Also, we travel, what was it, 6,000 miles a day. We burn 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel a day, so we're a very big transportation company. So we thank all the bus drivers. You got any bus drivers here? Thank you for what you do.
And also the month of February is CTE month, Career and Technical Education, which, you probably, when I was in school, it was vocational programs. So we're very proud of our CTE program, and we have some of the best CTE teachers and staff members anywhere in the state. And for those students who are CTE concentrators, we have 100% graduation. So that is fantastic. Our CTE program is excellent. And a little bit later, Dr. Stone's going to be introducing Kathy Jo Eckert, who is the director of CTE, and she's going to give us an update. So that'll be in a little bit. Kathy, we do appreciate what you do and what all your people do. Okay, some other announcements. Our next board meeting is going to be on the 14th of March. And then on the 21st, 1 week later, we're going to have our spring work session. And that'll be taking place at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at South Caldwell High School. At 6 o'clock on that same day at South Caldwell High School, we're going to have our community meeting there. So we're hoping to have a big crowd from those schools that feed into South Caldwell High School. So next item is our honors and recognition. We always look forward to this part of the program. The board's going to move down. I'm going to call on Libby Brown, Community Relations Director, to come forward at this time.
Hey, this will be awfully sensitive this evening. Ooh. Don't touch it over there. Just leave it be. Here we go. Yes, right there. Okay. Are we ready? Okay. Did I get your attention already? Chairman Pennell, board members, Dr. Stone, it is an honor and privilege tonight to recognize extraordinary talent exhibited in the Education Center Art Gallery. And I know we've had some fun already this evening looking at those beautiful pieces of artwork. We would like to recognize the excellent drawings and paintings that have been selected at the school level for display at the Education Center Art Gallery during the month of February. So students, if some of you were able to make it tonight, as I call your name, please come forward and receive a certificate of recognition from the Board of Education and from Superintendent Dr. Steve Stone. So to start with, Oak Hill School, and I know the principal is here this evening, Chris Ackerman, and teacher Lydia Stewart is the art teacher, and Sophie PICKELSIMER is a 7th grader at Oak Hill, and She's not here, but the art teacher is. So Lydia Stewart. Thank you. Granite Falls Middle teacher Mary Rizzo is the art teacher, and the principal is Bill Schreiber. Mr. Schreiber's here. We have 2 students from Granite Falls Middle School, Sarah Cook, 6th grader, and Caitlin Sims, 7th grader. So Sarah's here. And so is Caitlin. Hudson Middle School teacher is Kelly Woody. She's the art teacher there. And Julia Knight is with us, principal. We have 1 student in our Education Center Art Gallery, Tony Church. And Tony is a 7th grader. So I saw Julia here earlier. So there's Miss Knight. She'll come forward. Would we like to stop here because our next 2 are high school students? So would you like to stop
Yes,
here?
we'll
Let's
stop
stop here. Yeah. So parents, you have an opportunity to get a moment in time.
And hold your certificate that way so we can have proof that you were, Julia, you're a great artist.
And then we'll conclude our art exhibit with 2 high schools. First with High Brighton High School, and David Caldwell is principal. Teacher is Jenna Bailey. We have 3 students in the art exhibit. Madison Hodges. Madison is a junior at High Brighton High School.
And you can see the art, by the way, in the front or in the back.
Yeah.
So we have it displayed for you. And that's a highway patrol car. I know it.
Shh, don't tell all your secrets. We have Katie Scott. Katie is a sophomore. So Katie's, these are extraordinary art pieces. We have Michaela Watson. Michaela is a junior. And I'm not sure if Michaela's here. Okay. And then our final school for the evening is West Caldwell High School. Andy Poole is principal, and teacher is Kevin Abey. We have Dylan Guernsey. He's a senior. Savannah Herr. Is Dylan here? Okay, good. Let's give Dylan. Savannah Herr is a sophomore. Mr. Caldwell, you want to come forward? Wrong school. You want to come forward for Andy Poole? Kayla Johnson, senior. And Ronaya Abi Saab, a junior. Yes. And I don't see Mr. Poole. Do you? I don't see.
I've given her the other 2 to take.
Oh, Mr. Abey. I don't see either one. Okay. All right. Well, if we want to scrunch in the center here, we will get our photos. Nice looking group. Let's give them another round of applause. More students.
More students?
Yeah. Yeah. After 42 words, Natalie Brewer, Hudson Middle School 8th grader, captured the Caldwell County School Spelling Bee title, and she qualifies as a speller in the 76th Annual Winston-Salem Journal Regional Spelling Bee, scheduled next month, March 20th. As champion, Natalie was presented with $100 and a trophy. Second place finisher Spencer Sigmund of Granite Falls Middle was awarded $50 and a trophy. And third place finish Emma Hass, Gamel Middle School, won $35 and a trophy. This event was sponsored by the Education Foundation of Caldwell County. Congratulations to the top 3 spellers in the Caldwell County schools. So let's start with Let's start with Natalie Brewer. Yes, and Natalie brought her
Congratulations, Natalie.
championship.
Natalie, what was the word?
Jermaine?
Jermaine?
Germaine. Anybody want to try that?
Spencer, come on up.
And I'd like for the prince and Emma Hass. Yes. I'd like for the principals of those schools to come up if you're here, and the teachers. I know we've had some very supportive teachers. So Ms. Quay, yes, come on up.
I'm not going to be in the front. I'm too tall to stay in the front of you.
All right. Okay, we got everyone? All right.
Wow, that's nice. Congratulations. Did you want to say a few words? Did you want to say a few words? Watch out.
Just wanted to mention something at this point. Natalie, we wish you the best of luck. And many of you probably were not aware that we have had a national spelling bee champion in Caldwell County in the past. It was in 1952. Another young lady from Hudson, Doris Ann Hall, won the National Spelling Bee. So very proud of that. Her word was vignette. So when you leave tonight, you might want to go home and check that out. But anyway, we do have, Libby has one other item that she needs to deal with, and we'll turn it back over to her.
And Chairman Pennell, she was from Hudson, right? So no pressure there now. Okay, we're going to turn our attention to a teacher. Scott Settlemeyer, masonry teacher at South Caldwell High School, and 17 years of teaching under his belt, has been awarded Teacher of the Year by the Home Builders Association of Caldwell County. We applaud their decision to recognize his excellence in teaching, and we are especially proud to recognize him this evening in February, the month of career technical education. So Scott Settlemeyer, please come forward. And Mike Peake, principal, if you'd like to join him. And Kathy Jo Eckert, our CTE director, you can flank him on both sides, support from both sides.
Did you hear that, Libby? Settlemeyer had the highest growth in all the teachers. What was that, Mike?
From last year, one of the highest growth among all our teachers, because teachers are measured by growth as part of their evaluation, and Scott he's at the top. He's phenomenal. Does a great job with kids. Kids love him. And one of the reasons at high school we find ways to keep kids in school, and CTE is a major portion of that, and this gentleman's a major part of that.
We should clarify, that's academic growth, right?
Academic growth, yes.
Gotta have a little fun.
Thank you.
We're proud of you, Scott. Very proud of Scott Settlemeyer. He is a role model for his peers and colleagues in Caldwell County Schools. So now we'd like to have Jim Sponenberg, Chairman of the Caldwell County Chamber of Commerce, and Ralph Presswood, Acting President of the Caldwell County Chamber of Commerce, if you'd like to come forward and join our Board of Education and Dr. Stone. Honoring the 175th anniversary of Caldwell County, North Carolina. Whereas Caldwell County, North Carolina was created by the state legislature on January 11, 1841, from parts of Burke and Wilkes counties. And whereas Caldwell County was named after Dr. Joseph Caldwell, former president of the University of North Carolina, who was an advocate for creating a statewide public school system. And whereas Caldwell County provides much needed and desired services to its residents, concentrating on funding for public education, public health, and the safety and the general well-being of all county residents. And whereas the quality of the services provided by Caldwell County makes the county a great place to live, to work, to play, and to educate students through challenging, creative, and engaging academic programs that help prepare them for successful experiences in post-secondary education or entry into the world of work. And whereas the Caldwell County School System, established on July 1st, 1974, is proud and honored to be the only public education agency in the county that is completely dedicated to the well-being and individual progress of each young person. And whereas the Caldwell County School System wishes to give honor and recognition to all past and current teachers, administrators, and associates for their many years of faithful and diligent service to the students and their families who reside in the great communities of Caldwell County. And whereas this year marks the 175th anniversary of Caldwell County, North Carolina. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Caldwell County School System hereby officially issues this resolution honoring Caldwell County, North Carolina on its 175th anniversary, and adopts this resolution this 8th day of February 2016. So congratulations. We honor you. Would you like?
To make that official, I hear a motion that we approve the resolution as it's been read.
I move we approve the resolution.
There's your second. And a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Put the resolution in there.
We'd like to get a photograph.
Same thing.
We'd like to get a photograph first.
Okay.
Let's get our photo, and then if we'll turn the mic
So if
over
anybody
to.
ever asks, Caldwell County is 175 years old. It's one of the newer counties, I guess, in North Carolina. Gentlemen, you want to say something?
Yeah, please.
Mr. Chairman and board members, we do appreciate the recognition of that Caldwell County is 175 years old, and that is the purpose of the Chamber's work regarding this issue, is to get organizations in the county to recognize that we have reached this milepost, and we're asking each group to look at your own history and take this opportunity to bring it up to date and let your constituents, students, community know what the history of the education system in Caldwell County is. Again, we thank you and we appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you, and that concludes honors and recognition.
Thank you, Libby. Now would be an appropriate time. You're welcome to stay for the duration of the meeting. I don't think it's going to be a very long meeting, but now would be the appropriate time if you have dinner, or maybe the young people have homework to do. Be sure to look up vignette so you'll know how to spell it. And Natalie, good luck to you. We'll be following that.
Debate things, no, quiz. And they want to stay and got invited to the national. So he's excited.
Oh, my goodness. Are you gonna get to go?
I don't know, it depends on when it's.
When it is. Hopefully not during tax season.
Right.
Oh, mercy.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on with the agenda. This time, I'd like to recognize our superintendent, Dr. Steve Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We are delighted that February is National CTE Month, and I don't want to steal any of Kathy Jo's thunder, but you said it when you said it, and you said it well, is that we have some phenomenal teachers of CTE, or what I used to call vocational, in this county. And I think you're going to be impressed with the presentation Kathy Jo brings to us, and some of the statistics I hope she'll share. So, Kathy Jo.
I have to share the podium too, so Mr.
You picked a good one to share with us.
Yes, I have. Chairman Pennell, Dr. Stone, board members, guests, thank you for the invite to come this evening and recognize career and technical education. As many of you know, I have a passion for CTE, and if anyone asks me to tell them about CTE or vocational education, I can go on and on and on, but I'll try to keep it short, so within an hour or so, would that be okay? Dr. Stone's he does know how long I can talk about CTE. But we do have a lot to brag about, and I picked out just a few items of data to share with you, and Mr. Pennell already touched on one, was, of course, the graduation rate. The year before last, we had a 99% graduation rate, and I was hoping, gee, hope we can improve that. And we did, 100%. And that is for those that are concentrators in CTE. And that means they take a sequence of 4 courses, like masonry, well, core, masonry 1, 2, and 3. So they're in a pathway. And that tends to keep the young people in school and want to graduate because they see the opportunities before them. So it is proven that we do an awesome job in keeping our kids in school and keeping them excited about the opportunities ahead of them. So we're very proud of that. 2 other items of data. We have the opportunity to also work closely with business and industry, such as Home Builders Association and all those contractors that Scott works with and so forth. So we have the opportunity to offer credentialing for our students. Like through masonry, they have a national certification that their students can earn, which if they go to any other state, it is a validation of their skills that they can take with them. We have AutoCAD certification, we have Microsoft certification, quite a few different ones. Nursing and so forth. So we try to offer as many as possible, and you can see how we've grown throughout the years. When we first started in 2010-11, that number didn't show up too well, but we had 77 credentials earned by CTE students. This past year, we had over 1,600 credentials earned by students. So we're very proud of that fact, and I've heard stories of many students that currently have a job and they went in and showed their credential and they got an increase in their salary or a promise for a full-time job later on and so forth. So that's very important. Another type of certification we have, which I know all of you are aware of, it's part of our accountability, is the work keys. And that equals what they call a CRC, or a career readiness certification. It involves our seniors that are concentrators taking 3 different tests. There's a math, a reading, and a locating information. And they can earn and it's part of the ACT organization, what they can earn a CRC in either bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. We've had 1 student earn a platinum. And I tell you how they have to earn that level. In all 3 of those tests, they have to earn that level of certification. I believe the platinum, 4, 3, is a 6. So they would have to earn a 6 in all 3 of those areas. If in reading they earned a 5 and 2 6s, they would get the gold, not the platinum. So that says a lot. And I'm sure we might have a few more platinum this year. But it shows how our concentrators it's increased throughout the years. And it shows like getting no certificate, that's decreased, so that's good. But we've really seen the increase in gold. So they're getting better and better. And I think that is another result of the teachers we have in our classroom. And speaking of that, that's what I'm most proud of. I feel like a proud mama, as I told Libby earlier, or somebody else. But I'm very proud to say we have the best teachers in all the state. They receive many recognitions in many different ways. They're asked to do things across the state. We've had quite a few teachers go to DPI and serve on curriculum committees. They're experts in their field, and they have such a relationship with their students and their community that they work wonders in their classroom. So I'm going to take the rest of my time and give it to Mr. Settlemeyer. I was glad he was being recognized tonight because I think he has a lot to say about what he does. He's been in Caldwell County for a number of years. He was actually a student in masonry a few years back. Mr. Fox, Jesse Fox,
Mr. Jesse Fox
was his instructor. So I'd like for Scott to tell you a little bit about his students and his programs.
All right, thank you, Kathy Jo. I'm not the best speaker in the world, so I'll go ahead and tell you that up front. I do pride myself in laying brick and teaching students to lay brick, so speaking's not one of my best things that I can do. But I did jot down a few notes to share with y'all tonight. And first, I'd like to thank y'all for seeing CTE as the importance of it. There is a lot of importance, and it's just so happened that I was going to be talking for a few minutes tonight. Talking with Jesse Fox this morning, most of y'all probably, or all of y'all I guess, know that he's back in the classroom, and that was an honor for me to get to work with my former teacher. First time I've ever got to work. I knew we worked in the same county, but never together until this semester. But he was telling me this morning that something that I should share with y'all is he's building a house right now, and what he's finding hard is to get skilled tradesmen in on his house. Not so much your mechanical fields, your electrical, heating and air, plumbing. Those guys survived through the bad times from repair work. But the other ones, the framers, the roofers, and my mind just went blank, but those other ones, he said that there's such a weight on those that he's having to wait so long. So if ever construction part of CTE, and I know this is complete CTE month, not, but I'm in construction. Now is the time, because when the economy went bad, people was either forced out of it, went inside, as we call it in the trade, went back to school, started, or retired out of it. Now the people's not out there. So the economy is picking back up. Caldwell County, from what I see, is behind Mecklenburg County and some of those other counties as far as the economy picking back up, but the people are not out there. So we have got to teach them and get them back out there, because it is coming back up. Construction's coming back, and the Home Builders Association has shared that with me, and of course I keep tabs with all my friends in the industry and stuff. So it's coming back. So, but I'd like to thank y'all for putting such an emphasis on CTE. And Kathy Jo spoke on it as far as the graduation rate. It does keep a lot of kids in school. And I know y'all are aware of this, but I've had student after student, even when Dr. Burns was my boss, she and I, Dr. Burns hired me, by the way. She and I, we had this one kid, and I don't know if she remembers, and this kid told her, he said, Dr. Burns, he said, if it wasn't for masonry, I would already quit high school. And that's still true today. Students still stay in school because they get to go to that one class that they love doing. And as I tell my students, I'm honest with my students. I tell them up front, and I know Kathy Jo is telling you some statistics. I tell them up front, I know all of you are not going into the trade. I understand that. If I can get a percentage of you into the trade, I'll be happy. But one of these days, you might want to build yourself a mailbox or a planter or something, and guess what? You're not going to have to hire someone. Or hopefully one of these days you'll build yourself a house and you'll have some knowledge about it where people can't run over you and all that. But that's a couple things I wanted to share. And also, I feel like that we teach a lot of problem-solving skills. And all of us adults know that throughout your entire life you run into problems. And, you know, we teach how to help solve those problems. Teamwork skills. That comes under CTE, working as a team. And it don't matter where you work at, you'll have to work as a team sometime or another. But I've enjoyed the time that I've worked here and I've taught, and I'm honored to get to talk to y'all for CTE month tonight. And I would like to be able to speak a little bit about some business and family and consumer science, because I know that's just as important to those guys. It's just I don't know what to talk about when it comes to those things. So I have to stick with the construction side of it. But I think it is important for our students, and I think that it helps them a lot more than what we realize. A student, and I'm not going to read this whole email. This is an email that they read me when they gave me the award at the Christmas Home Builders meeting back in December. They read me the whole email. I underlined one sentence, and it said, "He taught me how to work," period. And I think that is so important that we teach kids that, how to work, no matter what it's in, but we've got to teach them how to work. And Kathy Jo, that's about all I had. Did I leave anything out that you would like for me to share?
A lot of things that you do. You can
well,
never.
One more thing. I did think of something else. The Hudson Middle School tree wall, I'm sure all of y'all have heard about this. I invite y'all to come down, visit us. We're there working every day that the weather allows us I have my students there from 12 to 2:30. It's going to be some project when we're finished. But as we got started on this, I guess it was last spring, last summer, digging into the history a little bit, I found out that my great-grandfather owned that land that Hudson Middle School's sitting on, or at least he owned half of it. When the county bought the land to build the school, a man by the name of Mr. White and Mr. Barton, I'm sure y'all are familiar with those names, they rode in on horseback and looked at that land and said, this would be a good place to put a high school. And so they said, well, let's find the landowners, and one of which was my great-grandfather. Frank Griffin was his name. And he fought in World War I, and he farmed that land. And as I talked and kindly dug back in my family history a little bit, he rested his mules, horses, whatever he was using underneath that tree that's still there today. And if I'm not mistaken, Earl Wilcox said that tree was 200 or 250 years old. If that tree's 250 years old, folks, that tree was here at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. That's amazing that tree's that old. But when they added an addition onto the school, they had to grade down the land, and Henry Lathan asked them to save the tree. So then the masonry class built a wall around it, and that's why the alumni class of '59 felt it be really good for the masonry class today to rebuild the wall. And so anyway, not only do I have pride in my students working up there, but I also have some personal history from that land there. But and I had something else on my mind as I was talking, and it slipped my mind about the project.
Do you have a timeline for it, Scott, when you think you might be done with it, if weather permitting?
I would like to be done in April, but weather permitting is a huge word.
Sure.
And as I explained to Mr. Wilcox and Mr. Downs and Mr. Wagner and those other guys, a school class building a project is so different from a contractor building it. You know, you got just days you can work and times you can work, and then you've got those days when you have to stay at school because of testing and different things that sort. But I will tell you that so far the kids are loving it. I've got one girl in that class too, and I know that's things you talk about. Yeah, I didn't know the word. I knew you would know it. But so far they have enjoyed it. We've got the footings in. We actually started laying the block today. But I've got several other jobs I'd like to get done this semester. Another arch at Granite Elementary School, like the one we did last year, and a couple other things. So I hope it don't take me all semester. But it's going to be a really nice project when it's finished, and I encourage you guys, if you're out and about, happen to be by that way, especially between 12, or any time, but between 12 and 2:30, because I think it's important that students see people like you coming out and acknowledging what they're doing. And I love that. And Mr. Peak does really good at that. He comes down, sees things we're doing, and I tell him, you know, it's for the kids. They really like to be seen doing those things. So that would be great if any of you guys could come by. Just the other day, I needed to get the footings inspected. Couldn't get a call through at the inspections office, so I called Mark Annis' cell phone number, and he said, well, it just so happens I'm right down here on the highway. I just swing by. I said, that'll be great, because the kids will get to watch you inspect it. They need to learn those things, you know, all aspects of it. But anyway, I hope I'm not taking up too much time, but I started thinking about that because that's a project that we're actually working on right now as we speak. Our competition, of course, this year, hope you guys will come to it. You've supported us in every year, and it's actually grown. We started this thing 5 years ago at Highbrighton. We agreed, the three of us agreed, the three masonry teachers agreed that we would rotate it between schools. So we went to Highbrighton, second year we went to West Caldwell, and then it was our year. And it had already gotten too big to have at the high school, so we're going to have to do something. So we had it at Highbrighton Building Supply. Then last year, Lowe's approaches us and said, and now this year, we've had two businesses both wanting us to have it. So we've took it from nowhere to getting so much community involvement in it that they're wanting us to have it at their place now. But it's going to be at Courier Tractor this year, and it's going to be on May the 5th. I think it's on a Thursday.
Kathy Jo, you'll send us an email or
Yes.
mine.
I'll send you a reminder.
Okay, Kathy Jo, I think that's about all.
So as Scott said, come by the project. We welcome you at any time. We welcome you in the classrooms at any time. And what you see are the skills being applied. But not only that, one of the things that really impresses me, especially walking through Mr. Settlemeyer's lab or any of our teachers, any of them, the engagement of the students and the work ethic that's being taught or instilled in those students. And, you know, we hear from industry partners a lot, you know, we need those soft skills, we need the work ethic. That's being taught every day in these classrooms. So I think you'll see that whenever you come by. So
And
we
just to
welcome
touch one more thing on that
Okay.
national thing. NCCR, she spoke about earlier. I had a student to leave me last school year and told me he was moving to Lakeland, Florida. And within a couple of weeks, I got an email from a masonry teacher in Lakeland, Florida, wanting to know what his NCCER number is, because he needed to see what module he stopped on and where he needed to pick up from. So, and it's not only educational, it's also, it's in the industry. There again, you don't see it so much in Caldwell County as you do in your bigger cities, but a lot of your bigger construction companies use NCCER.
And NCCER is the credentialing agency, and it stands for National Center for Construction and Education Research. I know those acronyms.
All right. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Can I say something to the CTE program? I got to go to their competition last year, and I mean, I love the program, all of it, but I mean, it was like the kids there, I was watching them, and then I started looking, and these people that own construction companies are walking around. So it's almost to me like they were trying out. They were coming to see who their next hire was going to be. I mean, I relate it to a draft day for a professional team. You know, these guys are coming and they see who wins these competitions. And I understood that. I don't know that it happened there, but at some of the state competitions, these kids are getting job offers and everything else. And you know, as long as there's people here, we're going to have people that can build a house. And it takes every trade to do that. And I just appreciate what y'all do at all the schools, and Kathy and leading it. I think it's a great thing. And I mean, I know that we as the school board and the schools support it. So thank you very much. That's just my.
Well, and I was going to say, in addition to that, one of the things that I think is so significant about our CTE program is it continually evolves to reach out to students with the trades that they are most likely to be able to use to get into the workforce. We know when we first got started, I was on the board then, I don't think any of you were, but you know, we started out with building furniture, which at the time was the right thing to do. And so, you know, we have continually looked at the coursework that's apt to be most productive for students' futures. And thanks very much to Kathy Jo and to all of you for keeping that in mind as you plan our coursework for students.
I want to echo a sincere thank you too, and Scott especially, thank you for sharing the story of what you do and the connection you make with students and employers. Appreciate it.
I think too that as teachers in the county, as administrators in the county, one of the key things that you try to do is build relationships. And what I have seen in the CTE program is the great relationships that the students have among themselves and with the teacher in that classroom. So I think that is extremely important, and thank you so much for creating that atmosphere.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Kathy Jo. Mr. Chairman, for board action, I'd like to propose Board Policy 7100, recruitment and selection of personnel for a 1-month comment period. The changes are basically on page 3 of your journal. It has to do with adding the word and the definition of nepotism. And the big change for the board, of course, is to make sure that as board members and as administrators, we understand that we need to give notice if there is someone who is kin to us or someone who is a close kin, family. We need to give notice before we vote so there's no appearance of nepotism. So we'd like to put this policy on a 1-month comment period.
Do I hear a motion that we place policy 7100, recruitment and selection of personnel, for a 1-month comment period?
Chairman, I make the motion we put policy 7100, recruitment and selection of personnel, on a 1-month comment period.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Action item 2 is another 1-month comment period. I'd like to place the 2016-17 calendar for the traditional schools, as well as the 2016-17 calendar for the early and middle college. I want to begin by talking briefly, and I will be brief about the traditional college calendars. The starting date is mandated by law, and that is August the 29th. It is mandated when we close school, and that is June the 10th. And I think when you begin to put this calendar out there and people look at it, they will see that there are a number of changes in the calendar that we have absolutely no control over. There are some changes at Christmas, a little bit of less time at Christmas, less time at spring break. There's absolutely very little time in the calendar for snow makeup days. So I hope as the public begins to see this calendar, they will join us in making it known to our General Assembly members that we need more flexibility with our calendar. Again, we have no choice in the bookends, the 29th of August, the 9th of June. But there is some, and as you look at the calendar, you'll see we did take some days out of Christmas, some days out of Easter break. And I also want to remind folks that this calendar is not just from the administration. We have met with principals, we have met with the faculty council. There's been a lot of input into this. But when you really get down to a General Assembly that tells you you will and you will, there's not a lot you can do in between. So as you look at this calendar and you talk about it, particularly the traditional calendar with family and friends, remember that we are hindered by the General Assembly with the start and end dates, and any help that we could have with that in your conversations with our General Assembly members would be greatly appreciated. The calendar for the early college and the middle college is, we have flexibility there, and so we are tied to the community college calendar, and that calendar gives us the flexibility of being able to finish our exams in early and middle college. So we can do that. That's easy to do, but so it's out there for the 1 month comment period. We do also try on the early and middle college calendar to piggyback on as many days that the traditional calendar, so we don't have to run limited bus routes. So those are the calendars. And again, as your discussions, remember, we do what we can with the bookends.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the proposed calendars for 2016-2017 for a 1 month public comment period.
Second the motion.
Okay, any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Stone. Next, we have Dr. Trish Johnson, Associate Superintendent, Human Resource Services.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Stone, I have 2 items for your attention this evening, starting with Exhibit 4. Exhibit 4 is presented for information only, requiring no action, usual and customary personnel items. Exhibit 5 includes usual and customary personnel items requiring action. I respectfully recommend approval of these items as they have been presented to you.
I've got a family member on this list. I want people to know before I vote.
Okay. Do I hear a motion that we approve?
And just for the sake of clarity too, we probably need to mention, is that correct, Dr. Johnson, who the family member is, because Joe will be voting on all the others. Do you mind, Joe?
No.
Okay.
My daughter Whitney Braswell is on for leave of absence.
Okay, I think for clarification, she's on the Exhibit 4, usual and customary, requiring no action.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
For information
And
only.
that was bad advice from me, so. Sorry, Joe.
So good.
Exhibit
But we'll work
5.
through this nepotism piece. That's what we're trying to get around.
For clarification, Exhibit 5, which she is not a part of
That's right.
the agenda, I recommend approval of those items.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the usual and customary personnel action items as presented.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you.
No transfers this month.
Yeah, I was going to say, what happened?
Nobody wants to try.
Well, we did have some, but Jill was out ill.
That's it. We'll have more next week.
Okay.
Okay, next on the agenda is the Director of Finance, David Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, board members, and Dr. Stone, I have a few budget amendments tonight. The first one is for the State Public School Fund. It's in the amount of $123,050. It includes appropriations for Summer reading camps, PRC 16 and PRC 63, special programs, grants for exceptional children. The second grant, the second one I've got tonight is for the Federal Grants Fund. It's a total of $83,018. It's for PRC 26, homeless education, and PRC 118, which is targeted assistance. And the third one I have is for the Special Grants Fund. It's in the amount of $12,991. If approved, it'll bring the total budget for Caldwell County Schools to $115,088,650.60. It is my recommendation these will be approved as submitted.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the budget amendments as presented by Mr. Johnson.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate it. Dr. Stone, you have any announcements?
Yes, I do. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, members of the audience, we have determined the snow makeup days. As you know, we have missed 3 snow makeup days, or 3 snow days already, and Jeff's watching the weather tonight, I understand, and we'll be watching it over the next couple of weeks. But we have established February the 19th will be the first of the 3 snow makeup days. That was originally a teacher optional work day. The second makeup day will be March the 24th. The 23rd was originally an early release day. That will now become, the 24th will become an early release day, but March the 24th will become the second makeup day. That means we still have 1 to go, and what we would like to do is to propose to the board that, or to let the board know that we would like to kind of sit on that until we see what February's like, what March, 1st of March may be like, before we finally decide when that day needs to be made up. So February the 19th and March the 24th, 2 of those snow makeup days. And I hope that you will join me in your prayers and all that we have no more of that 4-letter word. And I believe that's all, Mr. Chairman.
I know in talking to a few people around the Ed Center, you're not doing a very good job.
I
because
evidently not.
a few of them have been saying they were looking forward to maybe a snow day.
I must be the only one.
But anyway, anybody on the board have any information or anything they want to share? All right, that being the case, do I hear a motion we adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I think not. Have a good evening.